So can you just start by introducing yourself, your name, your class, position, and where you're from?
Yeah, so my name is Justin Edwards, class of 2018. I play defensive end, and I'm from Lawrenceville, Georgia.
How long have you been playing football?
Uh, I want to say I've been playing for 8, 9 years now. I started in sixth grade, and I really hated it. And then I actually quit and continued to play basketball. It was my favorite sport. And then once I got into high school, I picked it up again, and so I've been playing ever since.
Why did you get into football?
Um, I want to say it was influential. My dad played football. My cousin played football at University of Washington. So it was a lot of there's people in my family who wanted me to give it a shot. And like I said initially, I hated it before. I had allergies to grass. It sucked. And as it just progressed, it was kind of like in the back of my head something I really didn't feel like I uh, wanted to say I went after as much as I wanted to. And so when I got into high school, I thought, I wanted to give it a shot again and see where, my head was at, and just went from there.
Did your parents or your family expect you to be an athlete?
They actually didn't. Well, I started playing basketball when I was really little, so I was really always into basketball all the time. But I was really kind of like looking at other things too. Wanted to be an actor at one point. Wanted to be like an artist. I went to like acting camps, drawing camps, stuff like that. Really wasn't like into sports that much. Was really into other things. But yeah, the sports was pretty wide open. I think just because my dad played so many sports, it was just like, why not give it a shot?
Did you think your parents would have been okay if you chose not to, do football or be an athlete?
I think they would have been. I think they definitely would have been okay with that. I think they would not have been okay if I had didn't stay in shape some sort of way. So a lot of it was just them being very open to what I wanted to do. A very cool family who just let me want to try different things, see where my interests were at. So not a lot of pressure to play football. So they, were really focused on education, making sure I went to school and had something that I had a really good background in, and just helping myself find a future.
So, in your terms, your definition, you know, what does masculinity mean
Um, I want to say masculinity is like a feeling almost. I think it's something that someone gets when they feel as though they're, you know, um, dominant, or feel as though they're, you know, a lot of sense of pride. I think the feeling of masculinity is something that you feel when you just feel like you're almost better than everyone. I think that's something that you kind of feel within yourself, and it's something that is more of an overbearing of self confidence. Um, so yeah.
to you? Do you see this, masculine, your definition of being masculine, do you see it, crossing over into football?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think masculinity is something that you experience when you cross over into the football world. It's something that you'll see from a lot of different aspects, whether it's coaching, training, the game itself, outside factors, you know, fans, people, telling you how you do and things like that. There's definitely a lot of aspects of masculinity within the game, but I don't think it's as obvious as you would see it. I think it's a lot more subtle now, but I definitely think there is some masculinity to the game.
And, based off of that, do you see, this, masculine trait? Can you see, like, if a woman were to want to play football, or, just in another sport, can a woman be, masculine? Is it okay for a woman to be masculine in their sport?
Um, I think so. I think that a woman should feel as open as they want to about any sort of sport they go into. I can remember my freshman year of high school, we actually had a girl tryout for our freshman team, and she was just like any one of us. It was something that she approached just like we did, with the same mentality, the same training that you still had to do, and she could hit pretty hard too. So it was definitely something that I think that people get mixed up with, between masculinity and a different mentality, because football is a very brute game. So I want to say that it's something that you don't really should approach as something from a gender perspective, but more so from just a very almost primitive mentality.
Do you think there's pressure to appear masculine as an athlete, you know, on the football team and around your teammates?
I think that's stereotyped a lot, or especially from an outside perspective. A lot of people think that in the locker room and on the field, there's a lot of like just you have to be always have to be hard on for this stuff. I always have to be aggressive, or always have to be assertive, and I don't think that's the issue. I think people get that mixed up a lot, and I think that what was the question again? I'm sorry.
This is, do you see, like, is there pressure to appear masculine from, like, your teammates? And then, going into, like, do you change up your mentality when you talk to people, like, on the team, like, outside of the team, and being masculine?
Yeah, well, I can tell you from my experience from playing football at a young age, I think that it was definitely a pressure to appear masculine. And I think that, throughout high school, you have, just like any other student would feel peer pressure, to feel cool or feel accepted. That's how you kind of felt when you were on the football team. I want to say here it's different, where you can almost be yourself in any sort of way, shape, or form. Someone who may look at football from an outer perspective may see that there is a lot of pressure, but I really don't think there is.
So you personally, you don't really change up how you act with, like, your teammates and people who aren't even on the team, like?
Absolutely not. If anything, I actually open up more when I'm with my guys, like when I'm with my teammates, when it's something that you feel like you can you're already accepted, because when you're with the team, you all have the shared mentality that you've gone through just about everything to get here. You've sacrificed a lot. You know what it takes. And so you guys all share a different bond. Now, are there cliques within the locker room? Sure. But when it comes to finding those people that you feel are accepting and that you like to be around, I think that it becomes easier when you're on the football team rather than from the outside looking in.
Do you feel, that being open with your teammates, about, you yourself, do you feel that is something masculine, or is it not something masculine?
Absolutely not. And I don't think that it's something that I would call masculine. I think it's almost more so being vulnerable and being okay with that. The thing I learned coming in from my freshman year to now is that it's okay to be open, and it's okay to like tell others what's going on, because I think as humans we need to communicate with each other in order to be accepting of others, in order to be sympathetic of others. So it's definitely important to communicate. And I want to say, from my freshman year, I mean, I hated talking to people. Like, that. I had really bad anger issues. I thought no one understood me. And so that's why I thought that, they just would never get who I was. But then when I started opening up, then I started to see there were more people like me, and more different people, absolutely different people too. So, I think that was cool.
How do you think an openly gay player would be received on the team?
I think they would be received with open arms. We come from a place where our team is very diversified. There's people from all aspects of life, and we have just so much. I think this campus just has just a generally just accepting body, student body that, you really can't say whether or not they'd be, discriminated against or, biased by, someone coming in and, becoming openly gay or anything like that. So I definitely think they'd be accepting. Whether or not individuals would take that personally, that's up to them. But I think overall, I think they would definitely be able to play on this team.
Are there any like negative aspects about the culture of football or athletics, whether it be masculinity or anything else that you might think?
Um, Not really. You know, people will say that, can I actually do that one over?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll ask the
It's just
question
open.
again, yeah.
All right.
So, like, are there any negative aspects pertaining to the culture of being a football player, or the athletics in general, like based on masculinity, stereotypes, anything else that you can think of?
No, absolutely. And I think that when someone doesn't necessarily, uh, reach out or feel like as though they have enough information on something, then they start to, stereotype and generalize that. And I mean, you're around guys who are 6'5", 6'6", definitely over the weight capacity. So, when you see that, you definitely like to make a lot of stereotypes and generalizations, and I think anyone would from the outside looking in. So the negative impacts can definitely be unintentional, but I definitely see that and I can see that as a negative implication. But for the most part, once you actually reach out and open it up to somebody, then you can see that it's really not so bad. So, yeah.
Is there anything else, about masculinity itself, that you find interesting in football, or something that, is on your mind from this interview? Anything that you can think of?
I think just on the topic of masculinity, I think, like I said before, it definitely gets misjudged with football. I think before, maybe in earlier stages of football, it was kind of like, the assertive or aggressive sport. But the game has changed so much now, especially nowadays where we see players are coming out as gay, and people are starting to be more accepting and be more, I want to say, helpful around their communities. People supporting, different awarenesses, breast cancer, things like that. So I think the sport now has been more so of an outreach more than it is of a just an accepting thing where you have to be masculine in order to take that. But that's all I really have to say about it.